Friends, hello and welcome on TechGuruSpeaks.com. Today I would like to describe one of the most important topics of Core Java. As it is an object-oriented programming language, it must follow the essential features like encapsulation, inheritance and polymorphism. Till now I discussed about encapsulation, that is the wrapping of data and methods together into a single unit called class. Inheritance, but I am yet to talk about polymorphism. So in this particular class I will be starting polymorphism. The polymorphism in Java basically comes in two forms like compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Java method overloading is basically an example of compile time polymorphism. So today's topic of discussion is Java method overloading. Method overloading in Java is achieved when two or more methods in the same class have the same name but with different parameter list. That is most important thing to consider. Within the same class, the methods, like two or more methods, may have the same name but with a different parameter list. This signifies that methods with the same name must differ in their types, number and sequence of parameters. This particular concept I will be demonstrating a little bit later. This concept allows the compiler to match parameters and choose the correct method when a number of choices exist. Remember that all the methods with the same name but with different parameter list will be made available in the same place, that means within the same class. Another important point is to consider that changing just the return type is not enough to overload a method, and it will result in compile time error. At compile time, the right implementation is chosen based on the signature of the method call. So it is an example of compile time polymorphism that I have specified earlier. Method overloading enhances the readability of the program code. So that means if we have two or more methods with the same name but with different parameter list and they are to be placed in the same class, that means it will certainly enhance the readability of the program code. Now I will be demonstrating the Java method overloading concept by using programming. So for demonstration purposes I will be using the NetBeans IDE, which is one of the most popular IDEs for Java programming. So let's move to the NetBeans IDE. So now I will be creating a class for you to demonstrate the concept of method overloading. Say for example, I will be creating a class with the name overload test. So it is the name of the class within which I will be putting the main method. So first I will be trying to give you the example of method overloading with respect to different types of arguments or different types of parameters. Say for example, I can have a method named add, which can add two integer numbers, or it can add two floating point numbers, or if you can have two strings, they can be concatenated by using the method named add. But for performing different types of operation based on the type of operands. Basically, we'll need a different kind of method. So now I'll be trying to define the method for adding to floating point numbers. So I have already mentioned that by changing return type you cannot achieve method overloading. Okay, so they must be different in terms of the type of parameters, the number of parameters, and the sequence of parameters that I have specified earlier. Now in this particular example, right now we are actually demonstrating the concept of achieving method overloading by using different types of parameters. So this method will be adding to floating point numbers. Now I will be using another method that will be taking two strings as the operands, and it will return a concatenated string. That means it will be basically performing string concatenation operation. So the concatenated string will be returned. So this is the example of method overloading with respect to different types of parameter. Just you can see it here, like the method name is same but the parameter list is different. Don't look at the return type here because I have already specified and already mentioned it that by changing the return type you cannot achieve method overloading. Okay, so the method add has been overloaded within this class named overload test. So that is the idea that I have tried to demonstrate here. Now I will be creating the main method, and within main method I will now create an object of the overload test class, and after creating the object I will be calling the methods one by one for demonstration. So it is basically the example of with different types of parameters. Okay, so now I would like to see what happens. So I will be just trying to call the first overloaded version of the method with integer value as operands. So as you can see it here, since these are integer values, so it will be matched with this particular version of the overloaded method. Similarly, we can have floating point variables as the arguments. So it will be matched with the second one. Just have a look at the type of parameters here. It is basically matched with the first version of the overloaded method. So it is basically matched with the second version. Now I am yet to write the third version. Say now we will be passing string here. So it is now saved. Now I will be running the program for demonstration. As you can see it here, like for the first method call, it will be basically calling the first overloaded version of the method, and the result is basically 10 plus 20, that is 30. For the second method call, so it will be just looking at the type of parameter being passed. So it is basically matched with the second one. So all these method calls will be decided at compile time. So that is why method overloading is considered to be an example of compile time polymorphism. So like the earlier ones, if we are having a different overload for the string operands, like here we are passing two strings, mother and land. So according to the type of parameters that we have passed here, it will be calling the third version of the overloaded method for the method name add. So that is why it will be just giving you the concatenated string, like mother and land. These two strings will be getting concatenated, and by applying the concatenation operation we are getting motherland as the resulting string. So motherland is basically the resulting string that will be developed by applying concatenation. Basically this is the string concatenation. So it is the example of method overloading with different types of parameters. Remember it. Now I would like to give you another example, so that will be dealing with different number of parameters. So that will be the next example. Because I have told it earlier, method overloading can be demonstrated in terms of three different things, like with different types of parameters, with different number of parameters, and with different sequence of parameters. So that will be the third example. Now I will be concentrating on the second one, like with different number of parameters. So now I will create another class. Say for example, the class is named overload. Say for example, it is named overload. So it is a separate class. So now within overload I have to create two methods. Say for example, now I will be creating two methods like void sum so this method will perform the sum of two numbers. Here we are passing two integer numbers and the result will be shown. Say for example, it is basically a plus b. So it is basically performing addition of two integer numbers, and after the addition is being done, the result will be displayed by using a SOP statement. So the return type is here void. Now I will be having another overloaded version of the method named sum within the same class, but here I will be passing three parameters. So I will be writing here a plus b plus c, so it is sum 2. So that is the idea. Now I will be trying to create an object of this class so that I could be able to call them by using the objects, or rather to say the object references. So obj dot, say for example I am writing here 30 and 40. So certainly you can see it here. So based on the number of parameters being passed, certainly it will be calling the first version of the overloaded method of sum. Okay, now if I am writing here this particular method call, so certainly it will be calling the second version of the overloaded method of sum. Okay, so just have a look at the number of parameters here. So by having a look at the number of parameters, you can understand based on a particular method call which particular version of the overloaded method will be called here. So it will be decided at compile time. So now let's run the program. So we can see it here, like the corresponding method will be get called based on the number of parameters. So it is the second example of method overloading. Now I will be trying to create another class. Say for example it is named class test, and it will be showing you the example of say different sequence of parameters. Like the third example, say for example now I will be using a method named show, say int a, say char b. So it is the name of the method. So it is using isop statement to print the values of a and b. So it is the first overloaded version of show method. Now we can have the another overloaded version of the show method. So you can see it here. So it is having a parameter sequence like integer followed by char for the first overloaded version of show method. But in the second overloaded version of show method, we can see it here, character type parameter followed by integer type. So now I will be trying to create an object here. Say test t equal to new test. So I'll be trying to call them one by one. Say first I will be calling the first version of the method. Say for example I am writing a 7 and I am writing a a. Certainly the first version of the show method will be get called because int followed by char. So this is matched here. Now for the second one, say for example I will be writing here, say for example say b, and I will be writing here say 9. So certainly based on the type of, like I mean to say the sequence of argument that you have passed here, so it is basically matched with the second overloaded version of the show method. So just have a look at it here. So we are getting the output accordingly. Just have a look at it. We are having a new class named test. So it is having two overloaded version of show method with a different sequence of parameter like int followed by char and char followed by int. So a particular method call will be determining which particular version of the overloaded method will be getting called here. So if it is having a method call like this, it will be calling the first version. If you are having a method call like this, it will be basically calling the second version. So that is the third example with respect to method overloading for different sequence of parameter. Just I'm trying to run the program. It is showing the output accordingly. So now I will be giving you the example of type promotion. I have already talked about Java object reference typecasting, and there is a kind of relationship between the numbers like byte, short, int, long, float, double. Okay, so we are having a kind of relationship between the different types of numbers. So just try to remember it: byte, short, int, long, float double. So as you move right hand at the right hand side, it will be considered to be a broader data type. As you move at the left hand side, it will be considered as the, say for example, it will be considered as the narrower data type. Say I would like to give it now, say byte, short, I think you can remember it, int, long, float, double. So now I would like to give you a particular case of method overloading which is called type promotion. Say for example, I will be considering this one. Suppose I have a different type of parameter. So instead of having intb, I have changed here. So I have made it float. And similarly for the second version of the overloaded method of sum, I have made it long. So I have made slight modifications here. So it is for demonstrating the concept of type promotion. Okay, so it is basically known as type promotion, and it is applicable to method overloading here. So here we are having a parameter type as float, but here we are basically passing an integer type value. Now have a look at this particular structure here, say byte, short, int, long, float and double. So it is an integer type variable, and here it is basically a floating point type variable, like float type variable. So as you can see it here, so as you move at the right hand side of this particular relationship, so you are having a broader data type. So the int can be easily be converted into floating point type, because floating point type like float is basically a broader data type compared to int. So that is why it is called type promotion. So type promotion occurs when in method overloading a narrower data type is converted into broader data type. And we can have another example here, like we have modified it, like int has been modified to long, but we are actually passing here int value, but it will be getting converted into long because long is basically placed in this relationship after int. So long will be considered as a broader data type compared to int. So that is why this particular type promotion is applicable for int to long. So that is the concept of type promotion with respect to method overloading. Now I would like to give you another example with respect to overloading of static methods. Yes, static methods can be overloaded. Say for example, we are having the normal version of main method here, like public static void main string args, but we can also have the option of the main method being overloaded. Say for example, being a static method, here I am not using a string type argument. Say suppose I am writing here an integer type argument, so I will be having a simple SOP statement here to show that this particular version of method main method gets called. So now I will be writing here main 10. So you can understand that it will be certainly be calling this one because the type of parameter being passed here is int. So it will be certainly be calling this one. So in that way the static methods can be overloaded, and being a static method main can also be overloaded. So this particular example is basically applicable to any kind of static methods. For sake of simplicity, I have taken main, and at the same time it is sometimes asked in the interview whether the main method being a static method be overloaded or not. So that particular question is also be answered here. So just have a look at the output here. So you can see it here. This particular version of main method will be getting called with the int parameter. So that is the answer to that question. So I hope that you have understood the concept of method overloading with respect to different types of parameters, with respect to different number of parameters and different sequence of parameters. At the same time, I have also mentioned that by changing the return type, you will not be able to achieve method overloading. And at the same time, I have given you the example of type promotion. Type promotion means what? It occurs when a narrow data type is getting converted into broader data type. So that is the relationship, and we have tried to follow this relationship here by using this particular example. And lastly, the example of the static methods being overloaded and being a main method, and it is basically static and it can also be overloaded. So that is the example that I have showed you in the output. So that is the logic for the program. So I hope that you have understood the concept of the method overloading, and in future you will be able to write your own programs by using this concept. So it is basically an example of compile time polymorphism. So I have just demonstrated the example of compile time polymorphism. Now I would like to give you one more example, and that example is already been shown to you with respect to constructor chaining. Say this particular code I would like to mention here. Say there is a concept of overloading to be applied with respect to constructors also. Like the methods, the constructor can also be overloaded. Like here we can have three overloaded constructors. Like it is a default no argument constructor followed by two parameterized constructor. The second one is having two parameters and the third one is having three parameters, and they will be getting called in this program by using the options like this call or super call that I have already demonstrated. So it is the example of constructor overloading. So the concept of method overloading can also be applicable for constructor, and it is called constructor overloading. And during compile time, by having a look at the call, the particular version of overloaded constructor will be getting called should be decided. So that is the concept. Say like for example, if I am going to consider this call like special cube, so basically it will be moving to this. Now you are having a call to super, so that it means it will be looking for the default no argument constructor of its super class. Then there is a call like this, so it will be calling to this particular overloaded version of the constructor, and this will be calling the second parameterized version of the constructor. So in that way the program flow will be happening here. So that is the idea of using constructor overloading. So it is just a special case, like the method overloading can be applied with respect to constructors also. So that is the thing you need to remember. Now I hope that you have thoroughly watched my video, and if you like this video, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And here comes my YouTube channel URL, and please visit my website. This is the URL of my website. You will get a lot of useful information here, and this is the official email ID. In the next class I will talk about method overriding, which is basically an example of runtime polymorphism. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.